in blood, marvelous viewers, House of the Dragon is back, and today we've got a full analysis and breakdown of the Season 3 trailer for you. Let's get into it. HBO is feeding us this year with not one, but two shows about those dragon ladies and courtly intrigue. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has had a stellar first season, but many in the fandom couldn't say that with a straight face about the second season of House of the Dragon. There was too much prophesying and not enough action for their taste, which is why the trailer is jam-packed with moments that actually embody the series' plot, and honest-to-God civil war within the House of the Dragon. But that's not all this trailer had to offer, so without further ado, let's dive into our full analysis and breakdown of what we can expect from House of the Dragon Season 3. And spoiler warning, because there will be a lot of those coming your way. The promise of peace and the new Green King. The trailer starts off with Dowager Queen Alicent Hightower entering the throne room of the Red Keep. We see her walking up to the Iron Throne, and then we see who's seated on that throne. Prince Aemon Targaryen, the one-eyed menace to the world. The first words of the trailer see Aemon asking his mother where she's been, and we get the feeling he knows the answer already, given the rage-filled tone of his voice. The entire shot mirrors the scene between Viserys and Daemon from Season 1, where Viserys questioned Daemon's actions and intentions. Daemon gave Viserys a lot of grief in that season by having his gold cloaks beat up half the city and playing hooky with Viserys' daughter. The king replied by banishing his brother from court and brandishing his named blade to make it known that he wasn't playing around. The shot of King Viserys holding Blackfire unsheathed was a show of strength. A naked blade signals hostility, and he was trying to impress upon Daemon that the time for games was done. It's kind of brilliant that the opening shot from the trailer between Aemon and Alicent sees Aemon striking that same pose with the same sword, because it says 1,000 words with just a short, "Where have you been?" As for where she's been, a subsequent shot shows Alicent arriving in King's Landing wearing a hood with a single Kingsguard member behind her. This is the same Kingsguard member who took her to Dragonstone to parley with Rhaenyra, because at the end of Season 2, these old friends came to an understanding. The Black and Green Queens agreed to a bloodless transition of power when we were last in the world of House of the Dragon. Alicent promised to open the doors of the Red Keep for her sister in exchange for safe passage for herself and Helaena, the only child she truly loves and cares for. But Rhaenyra agreed because this would allow her to keep her promise to her father and herself, that she wouldn't be a queen who rules by force. Hell, she did the whole entering enemy territory to make a deal thing first, so you know she's serious about it. But we don't know how successful she'll be, because right after the scene with Alicent and Aemon, we see Rhaenyra announcing her arrangement to the council, and the person opposing her is none other than her oldest son and heir, Prince Jacaerys Velaryon. He tells her that Alicent cannot be trusted because of her track record of constantly harassing Rhaenyra and going back on her word. And we hate to say it, but Jace is kind of right. That's because this war has already gone beyond the scope of what these two women can handle, and most importantly, Aemon is now the prince/king regent now that Aegon has effectively abdicated the throne. It's clear that war is inevitable, and that clarity also comes from the previews of 3 of the battles from this civil war the trailer shows us. Preview of 3 battles: Honeywine, Red Fork, and the Battle of the Gullet. The 3 battles that the trailer for the House of the Dragon Season 3 show us are the Battle of the Honeywine, the Battle at the Red Fork, and the Battle of the Gullet. Let's take these sequentially because there will be a lot to discuss when June comes around. The Battle of the Honeywine will take place in the Reach at the banks of the Honeywine River. In it, the loyalists of House Hightower clash with the loyalists of Rhaenyra Targaryen. Chief among them, House Beesbury. Rest in peace, Lyman Beesbury. We see shots of the highly disciplined and extremely well-provisioned Hightower army standing behind their current liege lord, Ormond Hightower, nephew of Otto Hightower, who's going to return as the Hand of the King. And though we don't get to see the man himself, we know that Alicent's youngest, kindest, and most potential-filled son will be part of the Hightower contingent. For we see his dragon Tessarion in the trailer, aka the Blue Queen. The Hightowers might be filthy rich and they might have a lot of men in their ranks, but they're going to face a haranguing at a level they've never seen. That's because the Battle of the Honeywine is an endpoint, not the starting point of their offensive. Their lines will be constantly raided by House Beesbury, House Charlie, and other Black loyalists, and the battle itself will include the forces of major Reach houses like House Rowan and House Caswell. This will be the coming out party for Prince Daeron, because in the books, he's the one who saves the day for his kinsman, and we think the show's done a good job of keeping his actor under wraps, unless he has his mother's hair color, in which case we might have confused him with Ormond in our viewing of the trailer. We have a feeling we haven't, because Daeron has the classic Valyrian look like his brothers and sister, but that will only be confirmed when we get to see Season 3, so let's move on to the other 2 battles. The battle at the Red Fork was also set up by Season 2 when Lord Jason Lannister arrived at the Golden Tooth with the Lannister army and a cage filled with literal lions. The Golden Tooth commands the entrance to the Westerlands, and is a strategically important castle. because it also lies really close to a crossing of the Red Fork, one of the 3 rivers that make up the Trident. Jason might have fumbled the bag by overreaching and commanding Aemon to join with Vhagar, because that's not going to happen in a million years. But he will be seeing action really soon, for the Winter Wolves are coming for him. At the beginning of Season 2, Jace flew to the north to confirm Cregan Stark's support for his mother, and he promised him the fiercest Greybeards in the Seven Kingdoms to uphold the Black Queen's honor and claim. We saw wolves crossing the twins at the end of Season 2, and we see them in action in the trailer for Season 3, specifically the scene where you see a bunch of men with round leather shields and war axes charging at their enemies. Those are Northmen, hungry for battle and blood in the twilight of their lives, and the Battle of the Red Fork will alter the power dynamics of the Westerlands for generations to come. The show might be making a change to the original text because we also see Daemon Targaryen gearing up for war, and he's still in Harrenhal based on his surroundings. The shot of Caraxes breathing fire at his enemies in a field feels like it's in the Riverlands, and Criston Cole tracking a dragon by its claw prints feels like he's searching for Daemon. Speaking of Criston, he's going to be spending the rest of his screen time in the Riverlands, because Aemon wants him there to deal with the Blacks. In fact, Aemon will be joining him soon, for we also see Vhagar burning men alive. We're just not so sure where she does it and to whom. The Battle of the Red Fork will be followed by 2 other engagements, each bloodier than the last, so we'll keep those 2 for when the season actually drops, but for now, let's move on to the final preview we get, which is for the Battle of the Gullet, the biggest naval battle in the entire Dance of the Dragons. You all know about the Valerion blockade. You've all seen Corlys and Alan going out to sea in their extremely drippy sets of armor, but you haven't seen the carnage that is to come, and the preview itself doesn't do justice to what actually happens. We see Baela and her betrothed Jacaerys flying on their dragons to take care of the Triarchy's fleet, which was secured by Tywin Lannister in Season 2 after a bit of singing, mud wrestling, and good old fornication. The trailer depicts them as the power couple that they are, with their color-coded dragons breathing down fiery flames upon their enemies. But the real question is, will they survive this bout of youthful aggression? Because we also see a look on Corlys Valerion's face that's all too familiar. He wore that same look when Lucerys died. A look that screams fear and pain, and the loss of a loved one. And as you all know, Jace is sick and tired of being sidelined by his own mother. We don't want to go into too many details here because that would be spoiling the entire thing, so instead we'll leave you with this. The Battle of the Gullet will be hitting us much harder than any other battle we'll see in this series, and that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. Aegon's exile and rebirth as a man. While Aemon prepares for fire and blood and has claimed his brother's throne with impudence, we can't forget Aegon himself, for his survival is crucial to the 3rd act of this series. The trailer shows Aegon in 2 separate shots, both of which depict him as reclaiming his power after losing so much of himself to his brother's treason. The first shot shows Aegon and his savior Larys Strong traveling through the woods. It's good to see the fleet making good on her promise, for Larys is the spider that Varys becomes later on. Aegon's survival isn't going to affect things in the immediate future, but in the long term, it will make life a living hell for the Blacks because he's finally doing what he's supposed to do, taking control of his own life. The second shot we see of Aegon in the trailer is him killing some poor bloke on what appears to be a beach or a coastal area, and we know this is Aegon because his hair looks like Viserys toward the end of the king's life. Aegon's been burned so badly that he has the hair of a man thrice his age, but he's burning with the fire of a young man. That person he kills, he most likely does it to cover his identity, because surprise reveals only work when they stay a surprise. As for where Larys takes him, he says they're going to Braavos, but that's a lie, because Braavos is a city of stone buildings and 100 canals. Neither of the settings we see Aegon in during the trailer line up with Braavos' description, so where could he be hiding? Well, remember how at the beginning of the trailer, Rhaenyra is planning to fly her new dragons to King's Landing, a fact that Alicent uses later on to try to get Aemon to see things her way? That also means that she's going to leave Dragonstone pretty much unattended, and what better way to protect yourself from your enemies than to hide right underneath their noses. It's a tried and tested tactic, staying behind in the very place that poses the greatest threat to you because any rational man would think that you'd flee half the world away. And Larys is cleverer than most rational men in the world, because he knows that no one would even think of looking for Aegon on Dragonstone, considering it's supposed to be Rhaenyra's turf. This gamble will pay off huge dividends for the Greens toward the end of the series, and it looks like Aegon's character arc for Season 3 will be discovering his personal strength for the first time in his life. And as much as we can't wait to see that happen, we're also scared because Alicent might be wrong about a lot of things. But she's right about her eldest sons. They're both monsters in their own ways, and an empowered Aegon, despite being crippled, has the potential to be the most dangerous man alive. Rhaenyra the Cruel. We'll close out this analysis and breakdown of the trailer of House of the Dragon Season 3 with the final shots we get of Rhaenyra Targaryen, because in Season 2, Otto Hightower dubbed her Rhaenyra the Cruel, and it looks like Season 3 will make that lie a hard truth. Rhaenyra's final shots involve her slamming a door over and over again, as tears stream down her eyes. This isn't new because we've seen Rhaenyra grieving and having moments of power many times in the first 2 seasons, but on those occasions, she had a look of poise that also wished to pursue peace. In this trailer, she looks black with rage, and it feels like all bets will be off. Her eyes are those of someone who has decided they've had enough, and the only choice they'll be giving their enemies is their way or the highway. This tracks with the shocked look on Alicent's face the last time we see her in the trailer, because that's a visceral reaction to say the least. And combined with the scene depicting Hightower guards protecting the Iron Throne, and the brief moment we see Daemon crossing swords with a Kingsguard in what looks like the Red Keep, and a clear picture starts to emerge. Rhaenyra will take King's Landing like she agreed to do at the end of Season 2, but between her conversation with Alicent and the actual execution of her plan, which will also involve Daemon, something happens that makes her change her mind about a peaceful transition of power. The words of House Targaryen are fire and blood. They've built their empire with death and blood magic and dragons, and having lost 2 children to the stresses of war, we don't think Rhaenyra will react kindly to losing a third. The Black Queen has been a fan favorite so far because of her charm and grace, but her heel turn will be more fleshed out and make more sense than Daenerys Targaryens from Game of Thrones. And we're calling it a heel turn because that's exactly what it'll be. For the scene where Alicent cries out in the trailer will most likely be when Rhaenyra makes good on her promise to Otto Hightower the last time she saw him. Rhaenyra told him she would execute him for treason, and it looks like she'll follow through on that. And once that happens, all bets will be off. The only thing that will resolve this conflict is fire and blood, and wherever the dragons dance, death and destruction follow. As for our analysis of this trailer though, that's all we've got for you guys, so thanks for watching, and let us know what you thought about it down in the comments below, and we'll see you guys real soon with another video.